I mean, the old adage is use it or lose it. So I think generally, membership is free. We've got thousands of books not just in Stortford, across Hertfordshire. So even if you join in Bishop Stortford, you've still got access to books across the county. We have digital platforms as well. So even if you're not a sort of a proper book lover, we've got free access to BorrowBox, which is ebooks and audiobooks. I love an audiobook. If I'm walking to work, I've always got an audiobook on the go.
The Bishop Stortford Community Podcast is all about shining a light on the businesses, community leaders and local legends that make our town a great place to live. But behind the scenes, to run the podcast, it does cost money. So we've set up a simple way for you to support the podcast through the Giving Lottery. It's just £1 per week, and every week you're in with a chance to win a prize. And a portion of that money goes directly into supporting the podcast and creating more stories and more interviews like today's. If you'd like to support what we're building here, the link's in the show notes. Thanks in advance for your support. Okay, back to the episode. Welcome to the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast, the show where we shine a light on the incredible businesses, community leaders and local legends shaping our town. I'm your host, James O'Donnell, and today we are joined by Elizabeth Basey. Elizabeth, great to have you on the show.
Thank you, James. Good to be here.
Thanks for joining us today. Elizabeth, people might recognise you, but for those of you who don't know you yet, who are you and what do you do here in Bishop Stortford?
Okay, so I'm the library manager here in Bishop Stortford. So you may have seen me singing some nursery rhymes to your children or running an author event out of hours.
Fantastic. The library is such an important part of the town. How long have we had a library for in Bishop Stortford? Do you know?
Oh, don't put me on the spot, James.
I'm sorry.
No, the library on our current site has been here since 1997.
Okay.
And in actual fact, there has been a library here since the late 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's quite an integral part.
Yes.
Of the community, and something that we all want to be celebrating and using as much as we can.
Definitely.
What's the library working on at the moment that we can get excited about?
So May is Local History Month. So we kicked off Local History Month with a session this morning. This and that, we had a local history talk from a local expert called Stuart Marshall, and he is actually with us again on Wednesday the 20th of May. He's doing a local history walk and talk. So Bishop Stortford now and then. If you want a little bit more information, do pop into the library. It's free. It's at 11 o'clock, I believe, on the Friday. If you want a little taste, we have got a display in the library as well with some photos of Bishop Stortford now, some old photos as well. And on the 15th of May, we have our Marvellous Maps and Exploring Our Archives. So I don't know if you're familiar with our local history section in the library. We've got lots of old maps, so it's great if you're in a boundary dispute. You can go back and look at where your house was. You can look at all the fields we had in Stortford, and then you can sort of, okay, well, that's Stortford Fields now, that's St Michaelshurst. So you can really see how Stortford has changed over the years. And there's some fantastic little books called directories, which have lots of old businesses that were in Stortford, lots of addresses where people used to live. So if you're researching your house, your family history, there's some really important information you can gain from there. So that's Friday the 15th of May in the morning. As I said, it's the Wednesday the 20th for the local history walk and talk. And children can get in on the act too. So during half term, we are doing a children's history walk around Castle Mound, walk up to the castle, and then they can come back to the library and make a Lego castle after that as well. So that's Local History Month.
Wonderful. It's such a hub, isn't it? The library. It's such a great spot there. You think of the real basic premise that people think about is books, I suppose. But what you're doing is a lot more community focused.
Yeah, we always say we are more than books. So we have lots of regular activities. We've got baby rhyme times every week on Tuesday morning. Story times we do 3 times a week. Thursdays, Fridays and Sundays. We have a quiet book club, which we started over the winter for our Winter Reads Challenge. So essentially Monday evenings, 5 till 7, just pop into the library, bring whatever book you're reading, come and have a quiet read for an hour or so, and then we just have a little chat, whoever is here, about the books that we're reading. So it's a really good way to connect with fellow readers, because reading is quite a solitary pursuit at the end of the day. So a book club is a nice way of, just sort of connecting socially with your community. So we say we're all reading different things. We can all chat about it and get recommendations from each other. So that's really good. That's really good fun. And a walking book club. So in May is National Walking Month. So next week on the 13th, Wednesday the 13th, we're also doing a walking book club. We're discussing David Nicholls' You Are Here, which seemed appropriate. It's a book about going for a walk. So we'll be having a little saunter around Saundersfield Castle Park. So it's all on flat. So, if you've got children in a pushchair, bring them along. That's absolutely fine. Even if you haven't read the book, it's just nice to have a chat with people about reading or what you are reading, because it is National Year of Reading in 2026. So certainly if you've got children at school, you may have been given some information from your schools. So this is a national campaign, and the idea is to sort of address that steep decline that there has been shown to be in reading across all age groups actually, but especially in young people and adults. So we want to encourage people to fall back into reading by connecting it with the hobbies that they may have, the passions. So, we held an event in Easter with a local author called Sai, and she had done a cookbook for children. So she came in and she was showing children how to roll troifi pasta. So connecting what people like doing with reading and sort of seeing how the library can help. That's what we're trying to do this
Excellent.
National
It's
Year of
great that
Reading.
we're lucky with local authors, aren't we? There seems to be a lot of people that have spent time in a lot of solitude to write books and create stories around here. And you had an event on recently which I found very interesting, which was the narrators,
Unreliable
the
narrators.
unreliable
Yeah.
narrators. And I love books by
Yeah.
unreliable narrators.
Yeah.
But there's a problem with it, which is if you like unreliable narrators, you don't want to know that it's an unreliable narrator. And you can't then go search for books that are...
Because it spoils the surprise.
It just was a surprise. So what's the way around that?
Well, I had the same problem. Obviously, we had these three fantastic authors who came in, and one of their most recent books, Araminta Hall, her most recent book is called Unreliable Narrator. So you all automatically are given that clue, actually. So that's quite an interesting plot device, that actually at least one of them, or if not more, is going to be unreliable. But, we sort of discussed our favourite unreliable narrator books, and it's like, actually, these are massive spoilers here, because I've got a favourite Agatha Christie. Well, I'm not going to give the title out now because everyone's going to go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting plot device. But then it's like, how does the narrator know they're unreliable? It can, there's lots of different ways you can take it. Or it could be multiple unreliable narrators.
Layers upon layers.
But I have to say, I've never laughed so much at a book event. You kind of think it's a crime event, it's gritty, it's tough, and they were such joyous people to be with. And anyone who came to the event, could testify it was such a fun evening as well. And they always said, actually, it's the romance authors you need to watch. They're the ones that might sort of stab you in the back. Crime authors, we'll all go off and have a pint together.
Wow. Throwing aspersions about different types of authors around. Fantastic. I think if you ask most people in Stortford, they're all going to be fans of the library. But there's always stories about libraries being in decline and reading being down. How can we as a community support the library in ways that are meaningful? Not just in, turning up to events is helpful, but what's a way that we can actually move the needle on making sure that Bishop Stortford Library continues and flourishes?
I think it's that membership, really. It all starts from a very young age. It's getting that reading for pleasure, because if people enjoy reading, then they're going to be looking at, ways to read. How can they get the material? How can they read? So, it's kind of then self-perpetuating. We do quite a lot of work with schools. So we do class visits. We try and get children to come in with their schools, because then they might then talk about the visit to their families. The families can then go, oh, okay, well, we'll come along with you as well. So it's a habit. It's getting that habit and continuing it. So once you've got the children in, they've started school, we then find that generally they sort of stay on. We've had a lot of students in lately doing their revision and studying. They know that we're this warm, welcoming space where they can come, they can study, and then hopefully when it then kind of goes full circle, when they've got families of their own, they'll bring them to the library, because they remember it being this nice space where they can learn things, or pick up book about such and such, and then find something new that they, or pick up an old favorite. So we do, and it's not just it's not just books. We help with digital skills as well. So we have volunteers who come in and help with people if they've got issues with IT or if they're not confident with using it themselves. We try and give them those skills to enable them to be able to do it themselves as well. So I think the old adage is use it or lose it. So I think generally, membership is free. We've got thousands of books not just in Stortford, across Hertfordshire. So even if you join in Bishop Stortford, you've still got access to books across the county. We have digital platforms as well. So even if you're not a sort of a proper book lover, we've got free access to BorrowBox, which is ebooks and audiobooks. I love an audiobook. If I'm walking to work, I've always got an audiobook on the go. And that's great for non-fiction as well. So we've got audiobooks, ebooks, that's on BorrowBox. And Press Reader, if you read magazines and newspapers, again, you can read those all for free with your library membership, so you can keep up to date with what is going on in the world. And obviously events and clubs that we have regularly for communities. So it's a little bit of everything for everyone, really, I like to say.
Excellent. Well, hopefully as a community, we show that we love the library, and hopefully more of us can get memberships, use the library for what it's there for. And there's such a variety of different ways. It sounds like a different kind of media that we can all kind of get involved with and share, and hopefully build more community connections together.
It's having a balance, isn't it? I mean, I never want to sort of push one form above the other, but it's if you prefer to, if it's easier for you to access a digital e-reader because you can make the text size bigger, it's more accessible, go for it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What's the best way for us to follow along with the library and the events that are happening?
So we've got a Facebook page and Instagram page, so at Bishop Stortford Library. The Bishop Stortford Independent have been great. Every month we get like a little sort of feature about what's coming up at the library over the next month, so they've been really supportive. Jackson Square often share bits and bobs for us as well, as we're part of the centre. Bishop Stortford Bid are really supportive too. So, and I would just say come in. We're right next to the park. We've got parking next door in Jackson Square, so if you're in town, just pop in. We obviously have lots of posters up as well. Or just ask a member of staff what's going on, what can I do? Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, what we'll do is we'll put links to those in the show notes.
Perfect.
So if people haven't already started following along on social media, they can do that, because the social media content is just fantastic, isn't it? The video work that you put out there.
Yeah.
Is it Jim's
Gems? Yeah.
Brilliant. That's, those kind of things. Libraries across the world are dominating social media. They seem to be flourishing.
I think you can afford to be a little bit quirky, I think. And what we always find is that as soon as we put content out which features either staff members or what goes on behind the scenes, everyone's like, oh, this is exciting. What's going on here? It's so much more effective than read this book.
Exactly. Well, businesses could take note.
Yeah.
Listen to what Bishop Stortford Library are talking about. Elizabeth, are you ready for some Stortford Spotlight questions now?
Go for it.
Yeah, excellent. These are 3 super fast questions that we ask every guest that come onto the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast. First question: if you could put one sentence on a billboard in Jackson Square, what would it say, and who needs to hear it?
I would say books change lives. And then I'll have some directions to the library, obviously. And I think everyone needs to know that. I mean, even down to people not kind of realizing that actually if you read to your newborn babies, your little toddlers, you are kind of giving them such a step forward in life and education, and just it helps with language, it helps with communication, it helps with connections between family members. So definitely change lives.
Yeah, I think we can all agree with that one, and especially in this world where AI creation has overtaken the written word for the first time ever, as the amount of words that they produce every year. Get out and read proper books to each other. It does make a difference. It really does. Question 2: where do you go in Stortford that you secretly hope never gets too popular?
Well, I quite like going to Birchhanger Woods. We kind of moved up to the area about 10 years ago. We just found them on our doorstep and was like, oh, this is great. We didn't know this was here. Bluebells have been lovely this year. So it's a really nice, calm, relaxing place to just go for a little walk. When my children were younger, we used to go and do den building there. So it's really nice and quiet and shady, certainly on a hot summer's day.
Yeah, fantastic recommendation. Thanks, Elizabeth. And last question: Who's doing something special in town that more people need to know about?
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to volunteers with this one. So I know there are lots and lots of volunteers in Stortford that are, doing great work with lots of organisations. Obviously, I particularly want to mention the volunteers that we have in Bishop Stortford Library. So we've got about 20 plus. So 10 of those are our home library service volunteers. So these are people that regularly volunteer sort of once a month. They come and they pick books, they take them to housebound residents in Bishop Stortford. They stay, they have a chat, they swap the books over, and then next month they take them a new selection of books. So that's a really important lifeline for people who can't get out and about or come to the library but still love to read. We also have our 6 digital champions who are here throughout the week again, so they a couple of hours each day, just helping people with the time, with tasks on the computer that staff might not necessarily be able to commit to helping them with if we're busy. 4 events volunteers as well. So we've got early years. Barbara, if you've ever been to Baby Rhyme Time, you'll probably know Barbara, who signs you in. She's fantastic. And we've also got Steve, who comes along on Friday afternoons for our Friendly Friday. So he will come and sit and have a chat and play board games with people and have a cup of coffee, a bit of a chat. And then we have our events volunteers who help with our evening events, and our youngsters as well. Certainly this year we've got the Summer Reading Challenge just about to start. So this is a challenge that over the summer holidays we want children to keep up their reading habit before they go back to school in September. So we need volunteers to help hear what the children have been reading. They talk to them about the books, and then they hand out rewards for the books that they have read over the summer holidays. So we've also got some that started with their D of E, and they've done their 3 months with us, but actually they enjoy it so much that they stay on as well. So they help us with displays, picking books off the shelves to satisfy customer reservations, and just generally helping out, which is great.
It's incredible that, in our community, we've got so many people that are volunteering, giving up their own time, basically to invest in the community to make the world a better place.
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't,
Wonderful.
run as many services as we do without our volunteers. Thank you.
Wonderful. What a great shout out. What's your handles again on social media,
So
Elizabeth?
at Bishop Stortford Library.
Easy. Okay, we will link to that. We will share everything there. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank
today,
you.
Elizabeth.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. If you've enjoyed this episode, the best way to support the show, to support us, is to hit follow, leave a quick review on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, and share it on your socials, or maybe share it with someone in town who's not on social media, that hasn't been to the library for a while. They can hear about all the great events that are going on there at the moment in town. And if you've got a local legend, someone who's investing in the community to make our lives a better place to live, that you think we should feature next on the podcast, drop their names in the comments below, and I can reach out to them and invite them on the podcast. Again, Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us today on the Bishop Stortford Community Podcast.
Thank you, James. Thank you.
Thank you.